Garmin Fenix 6S Pro versus Garmin Forerunner 745. They both advertise having navigation, but they're very different. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dave from Chase the Summit. In this video, I want to address the differences between the navigation on something like a Garmin Fenix 6S Pro or the Garmin Forerunner 745. Both of these watches can navigate a route, but their capabilities are wildly different. I want to focus just on navigation in this video. I'm not going to be talking about GPS accuracy or battery life or screen differences or anything like that. The Garmin website's pretty vague when it talks about navigation, and I think people get pretty confused about the differences between the mapping capabilities on the Fenix 6 versus something like the 745. Before we get into this, if you find this video helpful or entertaining, please give me a thumbs up down below. It really helps out my channel, and consider subscribing so you don't miss more videos from me in the future. Also, if you're interested in picking up a Fenix 6 or a 745, I'll have links in the description that do help support my channel, and it costs nothing extra to you. All right, so let's talk about which watches in the Garmin ecosystem include full-blown topo mapping and navigation. That would be the Garmin Fenix 6S Pro, 6 Pro, and 6X Pro, but also includes the Sapphire models. Anything that has Sapphire also gets the Pro functionality. Boy, there's a lot of Garmin watches out there. There's just too many. There's also the 5 Plus models. Those have full-blown mapping, and the original 5X also has full-blown mapping. But the original Garmin Fenix 5, the plain old 5, did not get the mapping. Only the 5X and beyond. The other watch that includes full-blown mapping is the Garmin Forerunner 945. It's the only Forerunner watch that has full-blown mapping. So something like the Garmin Forerunner 745, like I have here, what does that get for navigation? I mean, it says navigation on the website. What does it do if it doesn't have mapping? Well, the Garmin Forerunner 745 will allow you to follow a breadcrumb trail. A breadcrumb trail is different from a full-blown map. A breadcrumb trail is simply just a little squiggly line of your trail, and it allows you to follow it in real time. The other benefit of this basic breadcrumb mapping is that it will actually buzz or beep if you go off in the wrong direction. So if you deviate your course for whatever reason, the watch will remind you that you just lost your course and you should get back on track. But there's no map, there's no base map here. So which watches get the basic navigation function versus that full-blown mapping? Well, that goes all the way back. There's a whole bunch of them that include this. That includes the original Garmin Fenix 3, the 3HR, the 5. There's a lot of them that include that basic navigation, including the 745, the 245, and some other recent Garmin watches. Again, in this video, we're not looking at GPS accuracy or battery life or how they're built or anything. We're purely just looking at the navigation features of these two watches. Okay, so let's quickly talk about how to create and sync a course from Garmin Connect over to either the Garmin Fenix 6 Pro or the Garmin Forerunner 745. You can do this two ways. You can do this on a computer or you can do it on your phone. The best way to do it's with a computer because you can actually have a big map on the screen and you can use a mouse to really fine tune where you want your course to go, but it's fully capable to do it from your phone itself. It just might take a little bit longer. Okay, so here I've got my Garmin Connect loaded up, and you're gonna wanna click on the More tab here in the corner and then click on Training and then go to Courses. It's kind of strange that you click on Training to get here. I feel like there should be a navigation button instead of just a training button, but it is what it is, okay? From here, you can see a whole list of all of the previous courses that I've designed before. I've made quite a few in my time, but today we're gonna make a new one. Right at the top here, it says Create Course. I'm gonna click that, and now it's gonna ask you what kind of course. It can be road cycling, mountain biking, gravel, running, trail running, or other. I'm gonna go ahead and click trail running, and now it's gonna ask you, do you wanna make a custom course or an automatic course? If you click automatic, it'll ask you how far you wanna go and what direction you wanna run in from the point you are right now. So that's kind of cool. You can, maybe if you're on vacation or you're in a city you don't know, you can kind of create a course in a direction that seems interesting to you. But in this video, I'm gonna go ahead and create a custom course. Okay, so now that I've got my custom course map here, I can go ahead and zoom into an area that I know has trails. And here's the Middlesex Fells here north of Boston, which is one of my favorite areas to run in. And I'm gonna go ahead and start my course at this parking lot, the Bear Hill parking lot. I'm gonna go ahead and click there to make a little green arrow. And now you can see there's a green arrow to indicate where I'm starting my course. Now I'm gonna go down and, maybe I wanna run by the reservoir here. So I'm gonna click down in this area, and you can see it just said calculating course, and what it does, it actually creates a automatic route. So you don't have to click 1,000 times to design a course. It knows where the trails are, and it's gonna help you get to where you wanna go. This is actually really powerful, and it works on both watches, which is pretty nice. You don't need that mapping function on the 745 to leverage the map on the Garmin Connect app. The beauty of this is it's actually using trendline popularity routing, which means these are trails that are commonly used. So Garmin Connect knows these are common trails. You're not going to be bushwhacking down a trail that's all overgrown and stuff. These are commonly used trails. And if you want to, you can actually add waypoints here. So you can see there's a little black dot in the middle that represents the pin for my waypoint. And I can go over to my track here, click there, click next. And now it left a little waypoint there that I can revisit in the future. This will actually show up on my watch as I'm using the course. It'll show up as the next waypoint available. These waypoint markers can be super handy for aid stations in a race, so your watch can tell you how far you are from the next aid station, but they're also handy for like water sources, if you want to know where a river is, or even the summit of a mountain during your hike. So after you've designed your course, I'm going to leave it like this. It's not a really intense course. I'm going to click save. It'll ask you what you want to call it. If you want it to be public or private, you can actually share this with friends if you want. So I'll click private, and then I click done. And here's my course. And at the bottom here, there's a little elevation chart, and it tells you some of the general stats of your activity. Now I can click the 3 dots in the corner here, and I can say send to device. Now I've got a list of all of my Garmin devices. That includes the 6S Sapphire, the 945, the 745. All of these watches are capable of following a breadcrumb trail. And in the case of the Fenix 6 Pro, you get the added benefit of the full-blown mapping. So that was just a quick overview on how you actually create a course to get it over to your watch. Now let's talk about actually following the course on the watch itself. First, let's take a look at the Garmin Forerunner 745 and how to follow a course on this. I'm gonna go ahead and enter my activity selection menu. So I'm gonna click on trail run, but this could be basically anything like running, riding, whatever, or hiking. I'm not gonna do my suggested workout for the day. Now I'm gonna go down to training or navigation. I'm gonna click navigation, obviously, and now I'm gonna click on courses. And now you can see here, I've got my courses loaded into the watch. I sync them over from Garmin Connect. And at the top here, I've got a 100-mile course for a race I did in the past. I'm gonna click on that to load it. It's gonna load for a second. Loading can be different on various watches. I found like the Instinct Solar takes a little bit longer than the 745, the 945, or the Fenix 6. This just loaded on the 745 pretty quickly. Now that it loaded, you have a few options. You can just do the course. You can set up a Pace Pro pacing strategy. You can look at the map. You can do course in reverse. You can look at the elevation plot. You can view all of the climbs in the course. That's Garmin's Climb Pro system, which is pretty cool. Or you can delete it. I'm not gonna delete it. So I'm gonna click do course, and it's gonna load for a few seconds. Okay, now we've got a little breadcrumb map of the course, and I'm gonna go ahead and just start the activity so I can show you in more detail. Now I need to zoom out because I'm not even close to the course. All right, so now we've got the map, and this is what you'd actually see when you're using the navigation in real life on the Garmin Forerunner 745, the 245, and a bunch of other watches. This is basic breadcrumb navigation. So as you can see, we can see our course here in pretty nice detail, and then there's an arrow that represents where I am on the course. But what's missing here is any contour lines for elevation. There's no trail names, there's no road names, there's nothing else. There's basically no base map to show you what your surroundings are. Now let's load up that same exact course on the Garmin Fenix 6S Sapphire. All right, now we've got the same exact course loaded up on the Garmin Fenix 6S Pro Sapphire, and we've got it on the 745. And as you can see, there's just a crap load more information on the Garmin Fenix 6S. Where the highway is in relation to where the course is. You've got contour lines, you've got boundary lines for different towns, you've got major roads, you've got all kinds of information on the Garmin Fenix 6, where you've got very little information on the 745. That's not to say the 745 is not useful. This is still very useful if you know your course. But if you're out on the course and you want to change it for whatever reason, that's where the Garmin Fenix 6S comes into play here. All right, so let's talk about navigation features on the watches themselves. On something like the Garmin Forerunner 745, if you're out on a run and you want to get back to your car as quick as possible, it does have a trackback function. The trackback function on something like the Forerunner 745 is pretty simple. It basically turns you around on your track and lets you follow your track back to the start of your activity. This is a useful feature if you're lost and need to get back to the beginning of your activity, but say you're doing a big looped course and your starting point's here, then you go all the way around in a big circle and you stop here. And this is where you decide you want to get back to your car. If you say back to start, it's going to loop you all the way back the way you came, which isn't the most efficient way. There's probably trails or roads that will connect you from where you are back to your starting point a lot more efficiently. Unfortunately, there's no maps on the 745, so it doesn't know how to get you back as efficiently as possible. But if you do click the back to start feature on the Fenix 6 Sapphire or Pro, this will actually calculate a route back to the start of your activity as efficiently as possible, using the mapping built into the watch and trendline popularity routing. So these trails won't be all overgrown and stuff. It'll actually get you back to the beginning of your activity as quick as possible, and that's pretty valuable stuff. This is something I use all the time. I kind of like to go out in my local trails and try to get lost and then use that feature to get back to the beginning. I know that's probably not very safe, but it's kind of enjoyable. Don't worry, I'm not in the backcountry here where I'm like 20 minutes north of Boston. So that's basically all of the capabilities of the Garmin Forerunner 745 and what's capable of in terms of navigation. Let's talk about the Garmin Fenix 6 Pro or Sapphire. When it comes to navigation on the Garmin Fenix 6, it's got a lot more options. For instance, you can actually create a course right on the watch without using phone or Garmin Connect at all. Basically, you go into your course options and say create new, then you can name it, then you can add a location. You can use your current location or a saved location, or you can say use map, and then you can actually pan around on the map, select a point you want to navigate to, and the watch will calculate a route to that point. This could be handy if you're on the summit of a mountain and you saw another mountain that you wanted to try to get to. You can actually do this in real time and get a navigated route right to the top of that other mountain. The Garmin Fenix 6 also has options for points of interest. So if we go into the navigation menu and click points of interest, we can see cities, food and drink, fuel services, lodging, attractions, entertainment, recreation, shopping, transportation, auto services, community, hospitals, and others. That's a lot of stuff built into a tiny watch. So let's go ahead and say I was pretty hungry and I wanted to try to find a burrito. Let's go ahead and say food and drink, and then I'll click around me so it finds something in the general area. Now it's going to ask me what direction I want to look in. It can be any direction on the map. I'll just click northeast. And now you can see here there's a list of local restaurants that are actually right around me. And keep in mind, this is all happening right on the watch itself. There's no cell phone connection or cellular data happening here. This is all in the memory of the watch, so you don't have to worry about all of that other connectivity. So now I could say I want to go to McDonald's that's 2 miles away, and I'll click go, and now I'll form a route right on the watch itself without using my phone or anything, and it'll tell me how to run to McDonald's because, you know, everyone's running to McDonald's these days. So yeah, this video is just a basic overview on the differences between the Garmin Forerunner 745 and its built-in Breadcrumb navigation and the full-blown mapping and navigation built into the Garmin Fenix 6 Pro and Sapphire. If you found this video helpful or at least entertaining, please give me a thumbs up down below. It really helps out my channel. Consider subscribing and check out the merch store if you thought this hat looked really awesome. I think I'm done now. I'll see you next time.